And happy Friday, October 28th, 2022, and welcome to a brand new edition of what we like to call the Clash of Le Champions. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Kirk Cadet, back in the United States after being gone for 5.5 weeks, and he is.
This is tag team partner none other than Jonathan Randall, your life of the party. Welcome back, Kurt. It's been a long time. It's been too long. Ladies and gentlemen, so much has been going on over the past month. Kurt's been gone. I finally created a social media page for our podcast on Instagram and Twitter. You could follow us on Instagram at Champs Clash, and also on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter at the Champs Clash on Twitter. So yeah, a lot's been going on. Too much news. Kurt, how you been, man? How was the trip?
My trip was good. It was very eventful. I pretty much recorded an album while I was there. I went to the beach almost every day.
Sure.
I ate a lot of good vegan food. Got to catch up with two of my best friends. Went to a music festival. I went to freaking Sinai. I went to Sinai.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, that shit was different.
Wow.
That shit was different.
Like, before we get in our news, like, tell me about that. Like, what was the experience over there, man? How was it?
It's a different vibe, man. It's a place where you're literally like away from everything, like away from civilization, away from like the city life, the noise. And basically where we stayed, it wasn't like really like a hotel. They were basically like camps, these like different camps with like all these like these kind of tents that you just rent for the night and stay in, and they give you like one big bed where you share it, I guess, or if you're by yourself, you use it by yourself.
Yeah.
And it's literally right on the beach, right on the beach is right in front of you, and the mountains are right behind you.
Wow.
Yeah, and we saw like camels walking on the beach and everything.
Do you ride one?
I'm vegan, bro. I don't do that shit.
You don't ride a camel?
No, bro, I don't exploit animals like that. I don't ride horses. I don't go fishing. I don't go to the aquarium. I don't go to the zoo. None of that shit.
All right, I thought that was just like a diet thing. I didn't realize that you even had to deal with you riding them or anything.
Bro, my wallet's vegan, my belt's vegan, some of my pairs of shoes are vegan, bro. I don't play.
All right.
Granted, there's certain things that are harder to get around. I'm not 100% perfect at it, but I just do the best I can. Yeah, but in any event, yeah, Sinai was mad dope. The beaches, the mountains, that shit was beautiful. It was a different experience, but one I won't forget.
Gotcha. So, with that being said, yes, my God, man, there's been too much going on in the world of wrestling that we forgot to pretty much like tell you guys about. Pretty much, if you guys are listening, pretty much you guys know what has been going on, but we felt left out that we haven't been, me and Kurt haven't able to tell you about what's been going on, and I don't even know where to begin.
Well, let's begin with like with a story that pretty much started around the time I left, and it's a story involving the whole CM Punk Elite AEW drama.
Yes, which is still going on right now as we speak.
Yes, and the most recent news that's been coming out over the last few days is that AEW and CM Punk are apparently working on some kind of buyout.
Right.
But the only thing that's holding this buyout back is a non-compete clause. So I think maybe AEW might be adamant about CM Punk like not being able to go anywhere else for the time being, specifically WWE.
Which I highly doubt.
Yes, we'll get into those rumors in a few minutes, but yes, the that story was coming out earlier this week, and also different reports have been coming out that Larry, the dog of CM Punk, was also in the dressing room when this whole happened, and the dog got hurt in the whole melee, and that's what caused CM Punk to throw the first punch. And the dog
What?
apparently like lost a few of its teeth.
Wow.
I don't know how true this is. This is supposedly the side of the story coming from CM Punk's people, but who knows, man? Who knows? That could have happened, but also at the same time, it could be bullshit.
The thing is, like, when are you ever allowed to bring pets in a locker room?
It was his hometown. It was, I think, yeah. They showed him even walking the dog outside earlier in the show before like any of this happened and before the scrummage happened
Wow.
or any of it. Also, what other news came out as of last week is Ace Steel, who was CM Punk's trainer, who was also involved in the melee that went down, has been fired from AEW.
Right.
I saw that coming because, bro, he bit Kenny Omega, who's one of the VPs of the company, on the arm, and he threw a chair at one of the Young Bucks, who are also one of the EVPs of the company. Yeah, you're not gonna stay
Right.
employed doing that shit.
No. And they're gonna bring the Young Bucks back and Kenny Omega back. They're gonna bring
Yes,
him back.
they showed a mini video for them on Wednesday on Dynamite, so that pretty much shows that they're gonna be back soon.
Yeah.
And from the investigation, they said they found CM Punk guilty of starting the fight.
Yeah, man. There's nothing coming back from this, and we said this on one of our last episodes. You could check on our archives on our Instagram page. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I asked you, Kurt. I mean, do you think CM Punk is a cancer in professional wrestling? And you said yes, and I agree the same. It's just that he's been gone from professional wrestling for years, and pretty much like a year into AEW, you're deemed as the world champion, and this comes up. It's like what more do you want? Like, I mean, and you're getting older too. Like, he's in his 40s,
And his mid 40s at that.
right? I just don't get it, man.
It just feels like the dude is grumpy and
He hasn't grown up yet. He's
yeah,
just
that
like
too.
not
Just
happy.
immature, grumpy, moody, like nothing's ever good enough for him, always trying to start problems. Yeah, and yeah,
Yeah.
at this age, at this stage in his life, I'm like, bro, you're still doing this shit?
You have a wife, right?
Bro, this dude,
You have a
yeah,
beautiful wife, and his wife was one of the producers on the new Netflix movie. And that was like the last time that he had posted something on. That was like his first time in a long time. He posted something on social media. It was about his wife being a producer of I think the Blades of Ronin, which is on Netflix. But yeah, you have a successful wife, beautiful wife. You were doing great in AEW as a champion, even though yeah you got hurt a couple times, but still
and then he just goes on a press conference after the show's over where you won the title and just has that freaking meltdown like a
like a child.
yeah, like a child, and it's sad. It's sad. It's disappointing. I say this as a CM Punk fan. He lost me. Like
I
I've tried for years to
I
give him the benefit of the doubt because I've heard these stories of him for years that he's an asshole, he's difficult to deal with, all this other jazz.
yeah
But just
yeah
after all this shit went down, and it's considering the fact that he's older, and after everything AEW did for him in that year since he's been there, I'm like, bro, I'm sorry, I can't anymore.
I know. And you're not the only one who feels that way, man. And to me, I would honestly would be afraid to meet him in person.
I don't want to. I really don't want to.
I'll be afraid to meet him in person because I know this dude would be a jerk. I heard, people. I even heard somebody from years ago. This dude, somebody like ran into him at a Chicago Blackhawks game, and he was saying how much of a jerk he was. And I was just like, dude,
This girl who I was friends with in Vegas who used to be in wrestling for 10 years, she told me about him also. She said he's an asshole, like he's rude and disrespectful to everybody. And she was even getting into some shit about how he tried to break up people's relationships. I mean, obviously this is before he was married, but yeah, just all this kind of
mm,
bullshit and whatnot. That's why I hate to say a lot of people were happy when he went to UFC and he got his ass beat the way he did.
wow,
And look, I'm not saying there isn't truth to some of the things he says and some of the things that he brings up and tries to stand for, but just the way he goes about it and his approach and his attitude, it hurts his cause more than it helps it. And it hurts his
it
reputation more than it
does.
helps it too.
I don't know I don't know, man.
And also another person who feels this way about CM Punk is another AEW veteran, Chris Jericho, who actually confronted Punk after the whole scrummage and after the whole altercation with the Elite, and he basically called him a cancer to the locker room and a detriment to the company.
Hey, took the words out of our mouths, man. Just pretty much the same. I mean, I don't blame him for saying that, like just
And supposedly
mm,
Punk's response to that was like, this is none of your business, and he asked him to leave. Yeah, I also heard this story. I also heard
doesn't
this story
matter.
once that Jericho told. Like I think it was like back in 2010. Like Jericho was like watching, like while
Hmm.
Jericho with Edge was like watching the highlights of like a hockey game before the show was gonna start. And that night's match, it was gonna be Jericho and Edge against. I'm sorry, Jericho and Punk against Edge and John Morrison. and apparently Punk didn't tag in Jericho for the entire match.
I read some of that in his book. I don't know if I think I've gotten halfway to that point. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then Jericho confronted him about it backstage, and then Punk's response was, "Since you were too busy concentrating and watching your little hockey game as opposed to focusing on the match, I figured you didn't want to be in it, so that's why I didn't tag you." Some bullshit
Wow.
like that. Bro, really, man, really? And that shit I told you he did a
But it
hornswoggle.
was a house show, though. If
Yeah,
I
it
remember,
doesn't
I
matter
remember he
what
was
it
described. It
doesn't
was just
matter
a
what
house
it was. It
show.
doesn't matter what it was. And that shit I told you he pulled on Hornswoggle. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Remind me of because I don't think you did tell me.
Hornswoggle like lost a mutual friend's phone number, a mutual friend of him and Punk's, and he just
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, and he just asked Punk for the number, and then Punk stopped being friends with him over that.
yeah.
My God, man, it's sad, man. It's freaking sad. You have a beautiful wife. You're richer than shit. You had a great career, and you still act like this.
Look, let's just say it. Let's just get the elephant out of the room. Let's just say it. He's toxic.
He's very toxic. I hate to say it,
He's
but
a
he
toxic
is. Yeah,
person.
he is.
Let's just put it as we'll just put it as that. It never occurred to me to say it a couple months ago, but now it makes sense. I'm saying it now. Yeah, he's toxic.
Yeah, and it goes to show you, like, not that WWE wasn't guilty of a lot of the shit that he brought up in that rant he went on after he left, but just looking at this shit now, you realize that it wasn't just WWE who was on some bullshit.
No. Nope.
And speaking of which, there's been rumors running rampant ever since the whole talk of the buyout came about that there's a good chance that he might go back to WWE.
Oh Lord, I don't. Oh man, I don't know about that.
I think it's just something spewing up just to get people to talk, but
True.
personally, I do not see that shit happening.
Clout, all for clout, man.
I
Just clout.
yeah,
I
I
feel
just
you.
don't see that shit happening for the fact that number one, the way he left WWE and the relationships he had
Hmm.
with Triple H specifically,
You know what?
among other people.
You know what? Looking back, I'm sorry. Looking back at that whole incident when he left back in 2014, just I look at a different perspective now. Now it's like, hmm, you know what I mean? Part of me does not justify for him to voice his opinion on that because look, that whole idea, that whole plan they had for him for Mania was just dumb. Okay, but just to walk out like that, I don't know.
Look, the staph infection shit he was bringing up, yo, that's understandable. And also, like, a lot of the fuckery they were pulling with him, how like they wouldn't let him wear like a certain brand of tights or like a sponsorship on his tights for whatever reason, and then the next thing you know, they're letting Brock Lesnar do it. And then yeah,
Oh yeah.
and then the shit with Triple H beating him at Night of Champions, and also him like losing to Rock and then losing to Undertaker and losing to Brock, and then like yeah, him wrestling with the staph infection for all those months and all that other bullshit. Look, he
Hmm.
wasn't wrong for being frustrated and angry and wanting to be out. I get that. I've been in unhappy in jobs and working situations myself, and I can get the that you get to the point where like you can't take it anymore. You just got to be out. I don't know if that was the right best way to handle it, but it is what it is. And then
Hmm.
you just fast forward to 8 years later, he's in a different company. He's been gone for a few years,
A more reasonable company. I'm sorry.
and he only lost 2 matches in that whole year period. Only 2 matches,
Yeah.
and they made him the champion.
Yeah.
And then at a press conference after the pay per view in his hometown where he wins the title, he just has a meltdown and just embarrasses the company. Yeah, just acts really petty, really small, and just more than anything, just embarrassed himself.
Hmm.
We gave this dude so many chances, and just like doing it this in this public forum at this stage in his career, it's like, bro, I can't anymore.
Especially at this age.
The only way I could ever see him coming back from this and like gaining any goodwill back from this is if he like legit apologizes and legit humbles himself and says like, "Yo, I was wrong for this. I've been wrong for acting this way for years. I hope you can forgive me," which I don't see happening.
Mm. And you're right. I think that is like the only thing he could do at this point. But I mean, it. I'm sorry. It's gonna take like something to humble him to make like well, damn, you know what I mean. And you really you know what, on hindsight, Kurt, when you really look at this whole story, it's a fall of grace story when you think about it.
Huge fall from grace. just like one Kanye West.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, to be honest, they're both very similar to me. They're both very similar.
Very outspoken,
Very talented though. I'll give them both that. Very talented. I will never take that away from either one of them.
right? Could draw people, draw audience.
Yeah, but horrible approaches and horrible attitudes to the way they go about things and just know how to turn people off.
Mm.
Yeah, because I've said this before and I'll say it again. Regardless of how righteous and how right your cause is you're fighting for and how just it is, if you have a bad, like condescending asshole attitude about it with the way you bring it to people, chances are they're gonna tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, but all these rumors about him going to WWE, I would be freaking shocked. Like I've never been shocked before
If they
that
let
hasn't
him
happened.
back, especially after what how the way he condoned himself.
Yeah,
Because Kurt, think about it. You know he's gonna like look. They hand something to him. Well, he's not gonna like it, and then he's gonna throw a pity party, and then I don't know, dude. It's oh god. Oh my god.
yeah. For one, he left WWE on bad terms and also had a bad
Yeah.
relationship with Triple H. And number two, he's leaving AEW on bad terms and a very ugly and very public fashion. And you think WWE wants to deal with that bullshit with a dude
Nope.
they had issues with before, who doesn't
Mm-hmm.
seem who's clear to see hasn't changed? If I were Triple H, I wouldn't even consider it. It's just not worth the headache. It's not worth the bullshit that would come along with it.
My god.
Like Sean, like even if Sean was still kind of an asshole in his later years, at least he kind of mellowed a little bit and changed a little bit.
Well, here, well, yeah, well, that's completely different because you got to remember, what Sean did is what you're expecting of Punk. Sean came back and apologized, and not only that, look, and I understand some people don't, like Jim Cornette, he doesn't buy the whole thing, right? But what Sean has shown from what told by majority is that he condones himself the complete opposite than he did 25 years ago. His actions
Yeah,
speak, and he apologized and he let his behavior do the talking for him. He didn't just do, oh, I'm such and no, he let his actions do the talking for him.
look, I've heard some stories about him still being an asshole even in the later years, but
I know that's what I'm. Yeah, that's what I'm like. Kind of that's what I'm saying though. But other than that, it's like it is different
but
from Punk because you got to remember
but I've
Sean
yeah, but I've
apologized.
also seen and heard some good things. And like, let's be real, in that second run in the 2000s, he definitely helped and elevated a lot more people than he did in that first run. He
Right,
was definitely very gracious as far as losing matches and working with certain people.
right,
Yeah, you know,
right, right,
I definitely
right.
give him props for that. Definitely. Hell, Chris Masters even said they said a prayer together before their match at Unforgiven '05.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Imagine him doing that shit in '95 with freaking with King Kong Bundy or some shit.
Oh god. uh,
Yeah, but I just don't see him going back to WWE. I don't see WWE even wanting him back. And honestly, I hate to say it, I don't care if I ever see the dude wrestle again.
yeah, I think it's done. I mean, it was good. Look, it was good while it lasted. I mean, I got to see him. I'm happy I got to see him wrestle this past May. You know what I mean? But
And that'll probably be most people's last good memory of him.
right, man.
It's just unfortunate, man. And I'm not saying the elite dudes are innocent either. Like I don't know that much about them, but I've heard certain things. And even Cody, I was hearing, wasn't getting along with them even a year before he left. But
Mhm.
you just don't air shit out like that in public in a setting like that.
Oh,
And even with the straight edge thing aside, I would not look at him as a role model for kids, young people to look up to with that kind of behavior.
outside the straight edge thing, right?
Yeah, I commend him for that. I'm not straight edge myself, but I commend him for that. But with that shit aside, like with this kind of behavior and these kind of things, stories you've heard for years, he's not a good role model.
It's not a type of behavior you want to do when you're in any kind of workplace.
Absolutely not. Yeah, like I'm sure we get upset at work from time to time, when we get frustrated at work from time to time with certain people,
Not like that.
certain scenarios. But yeah, like I
Not
said, yeah,
toxic.
but there's just a way you go about it. There's a way you go about it. There's a way you handle it, and that's not the way to do it.
Uh,
It's unfortunate. It's really sad. I say this as someone who was a CM Punk fan. Specifically, when I started watching wrestling again in 2012, he was one of the people, along with Daniel Bryan, that I really gravitated to. Damn, I'm just very disappointed. It's very disappointing.
it really hurts me more in a way because you got to remember I've been a CM Punk fan like when he first broke into the business. So it was like
Oh, you mean when he first came
2006.
into WWE? He'd been wrestling for years before that.
Yeah, I know that, but like you got to remember I didn't watch Ring of Honor. You know what I mean? I didn't know where you could
Not did
watch it
I.
at, or you know what I mean. So, but any hardcore wrestling fan would know about it, so they knew about CM Punk well before that. But but for me, yeah, I got introduced to him in 2006. I was that much of a fan to the point where I literally, when ECW was just literally just garbage at the time, I literally watched an episode of ECW in 2007 just so he could to see him win the ECW championship against John Morrison because it was his last opportunity to win it. That's how much of a fan I was. I went out of my way to watch ECW even though it was garbage. Him cashing in the Money in the Bank contract in 2008 on Edge was one of, like, if I had to give you like top three, if I had to give you like top three of my favorite cash-ins, that's top three for me.
Yeah, it was very well done. I mean, the title reign itself ended up not being anything to write home about, but the cash in and that moment was very well done.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been just in like the fact that he watches, he likes hockey, and just like just how like he's just very like a rogue type of baby face. Kind of reminds me of Stone Cold. That's why I really like this guy a lot. You know what I mean? And I just really thought that I was really bothered when he left in 2014 because I was like, outside of Xena, like this is like the next guy. This is like the other guy. You know what I mean? But I don't think Punk didn't want that.
Well, to be fair, by that point, by that 2014 period, he was a step below. Daniel Bryan was a bigger deal than him at that point than he was.
I know, but it's because of like what had happened after the Lesnar feud. He kind of like he really took a big step down.
Here's how it went. Obviously, yeah, he had the title reign in '08. That was a disappointment. And then the next year, he had the feud with Jeff Hardy, which was very good. And the whole Straight Edge Society stuff was dope. That followed it. And then yeah, the 2011 period, he was about to leave, and then he did the pipe bomb, which freaking just put him on another level. That pretty much made him like pretty much the Punk that we know today. That took him from like being a dude that was in the mix, who was in that upper level, to like really being like pretty much neck and neck with Cena. Yeah, because he lashed the fuck out in that pipe bomb. Yeah, that I'll still maintain that pipe bomb was one of the best promos in wrestling here history. Definitely top 10.
Yeah,
And then he had the match with Cena, the Money in the Bank, when he wins the title. Great match and great moment. Unfortunately, they ended up like sabotaging it with like him losing to Del Rio, and then he lost to Triple H the next month, which was whack too. And yes, he did have the 434-day title reign, which is dope. But let's be real, the majority of that title reign, he was basically still playing second fiddle to Cena.
yep,
He was the champion for 14 months. He only main evented 5 pay-per-views.
right. And by the time he main evented again in the middle of his title run is when he went up against Cena. That was it.
Yeah, he main evented the pay per view the month after he won the title on TLC, and then he did main event another pay per view again until 9 months later, which is the one with Cena, the Night of Champions one.
Right. Not till September.
Yeah, and look, like
That's
I said, I'm sure the way he went about certain things and his approach didn't do him any favors. But to be fair, that is some bullshit that he only main evented that many pay per views as champion with that long of a
Mhm.
title reign.
Bro, they put Kane versus Cena as the main event at Elimination Chamber that year.
And John Cena and John Laurinaitis is the main event of another pay per view with him going against Daniel Bryan.
Right. That was unexcusable. I was just like, bro, that's your champion, and you putting Xena and Laurinaitis as the main event?
Bullshit.
Come
Bullshit. But that's
on,
another
dude.
story though. And
Yeah,
then yeah,
but
he lost the title to the Rock. To be fair, I feel like he should have, for the year he was having, he should have been in the main event of Mania that year. I
it should have been a triple
I
threat.
Yeah, I agree they could have gone about it a certain way, but whatever, it didn't happen. And
Yeah,
then he lost
yeah.
Undertaker at WrestleMania, which I mean, I would have liked to have seen him win, but what the fuck was I thinking?
What? How the storyline that they were going, Kurt, leading up to it? Come on.
I just wanted to say I was there when the streak ended because it didn't happen with Triple H the year before.
Okay, all right, all right. I see how it is. Okay, okay, I see.
So,
I see how it
and
is.
then the next year when I didn't go, then it happened. All right, but anyway, and then he leaves for a few months, and then he comes back, and then he does the feud with Brock and has a match with Brock at SummerSlam, which is amazing. But yes, I will admit when he came back for that run, like when he came back, and then the feud with Lesnar, and then that period afterwards, I knew something was off. I knew something wasn't right.
You know what's the thing is they couldn't find anybody else for him. That was a problem.
Yeah, he did that feud with like Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman
That
and
was it.
Ryback.
Was that where I was just like, oh, I was like, what are they doing? This is going way too long. I was like, oh man,
Oh yeah, he wasn't a big fan of Ryback
oof,
either. Oh shit, I almost forgot about that.
yeah.
Yeah, the shit he said about Ryback in the last rant he went on in 2014.
But here's the thing though. But here's the thing. I understand you're saying about Daniel Bryan how they were gonna like push him. He had the momentum, all that. But the one rumor, which was so true, what they were gonna do, which their original plan was, they were gonna do another Summer of Punk storyline, just like they did in 2011.
I don't know. I just heard the rumor was the match that they were supposed to do with Mania that year was Punk against Triple H, and also
Yeah, I know, but moving
what they were gonna do is Daniel Bryan against Sheamus.
no,
Bro, Daniel Bryan was the hottest dude that whole year, and they were gonna put him in a
no.
fucking random match with Sheamus. You fucking serious?
I think I already told you this already. I'm going to say it again. I already told you that that wasn't right because they never finished their feud. They never finished the feud between Daniel Bryan and Triple H.
And poor Batista got caught in the crossfires with all that because when they had him in the Royal Rumble, they shitted all over it, and
Yeah,
and it wasn't his fault. It was nothing that Batista did wrong. It's the fucking company that was freaking incompetent.
right.
That was like after watching that Rumble and the shit what they pulled with Daniel Bryan. That was like the one night where I was like legit boiling at WWE, where I was like legit angry and like literally ready to fight. I wrote a verse dissing him the next morning. The next morning, I literally wrote a verse dissing the shit out of them,
Huh.
like on some 8 Mile shit. Because, like I said, bro, I always give them credit when they do things right and do something that's like interesting and compelling. But I will always call them out when they do some bullshit, and especially when I can tell they did it on purpose.
As you said so many times, but it's not the case anymore. Thank God.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then yeah, he leaves WWE. He has that meeting with Triple H and Vince where he bitches them both out. And then he told Triple H, like, yo, I resent you for not putting me over. And I don't need to work with you. You need to work with me. And I don't even want to give you the privilege of it. And yeah, and then he just walked. And yeah, it was shocking. Like I remember when the news
Yep.
broke out of that, I'm like, what the fuck? He
Hmm.
left random? He just left like that? Yeah, it was crazy. But then he goes to UFC. That didn't work out, and then he makes that triumphant return in AEW last year, which was a great moment. That night he returned in Chicago, freaking amazing. The reaction, the speech he gave, that was definitely a monumental moment. But then in 1 year he had to freaking sabotage all of it.
Mm.
And look, I'm sure maybe the injury he suffered in the match that night might have had something to do with him, doing what he did in the press conference. But bro,
No excuse. No excuse.
yeah, like I said, imagine Roman Reigns behaving that way in a press conference after a show,
Oh my God.
or Drew McIntyre, or Cody, whoever.
Never. I can't see that. It's hard to see that.
But I give Jericho credit for calling him out on that. Jericho, for whatever criticisms people want to give him, whether it be his political views or whatever, like he still seems like a dude who's like who stands up for everybody, and who's like a locker room leader in a sense, kind of like a modern day
That's a vet. That dude. That's a veteran who's been in the game for years. So that's not. I'm not surprised.
And Jericho's always been known to like help out the younger guys and like stick up for the younger guys,
Right.
etc.
That's yeah. That's not a surprise. I'm not surprised. That's a veteran man who knows his way, who the in and outs, who had his ups and downs, and had to fight his way. Not a surprise, man.
But even with this aside, there's other AEW drama going on. And then one of the stories that came out over the last few weeks was the incident between Sammy Guevara and Andrade, where they were basically talking shit to each other on Twitter. And then at the arena at Dynamite the following Wednesday, they ended up getting into an altercation that apparently Andrade started, and he was sent home as a result of it. And
Jesus,
that's the second altercation.
why does it feel like this?
And that's the second altercation that Sammy Guevara's gotten into within like only 3 months, because he had that altercation with Eddie Kingston a few months back.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, yeah.
Shit,
I just
man.
don't get it. It's just the locker room is not really. It's not. I don't know, dude. It's not really.
Santana and Ortiz, those dudes don't get along anymore. They were a tag team and they're not cool anymore.
Ay.
Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker have beef and like they really don't like each other. It's like, what the
Thunder
fuck
Rose is
happened to this
still
place?
gone. Right.
Supposedly she's gonna be gone until at least January.
Jesus.
Damn, man.
Yikes.
But yeah, it's just sad to see what's going on with AEW right now. Like, behind the scenes, it's because
Yeah.
you look at where they were a year ago and you're looking at what's going on
Yeah.
now.
A lot can happen in a year.
Al-
A lot can happen in
Although
a
I
year,
still enjoy
dude.
the show and still find the show entertaining, it's just unfortunate that these
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
It's just when you hear stuff in the back, it just is a bit shocking.
Yeah, it's sad, man. But let's get into some other news, some sad, unfortunate news, as it was found out last week that Kevin Nash's 26-year-old son passed away as a result of a seizure.
Yeah, and it's bad.
Fuck, man. 26 years old.
Yeah,
And
dude.
Kevin Nash, to his credit, even
Damn,
did a podcast about the whole situation a few days after.
man.
Yo, poor guy. I feel horrible for him and his wife. Terrible.
I
I
know.
can imagine what it would be like to be like a parent who freaking loses a kid. Fuck me.
I know. Or just anybody just loses somebody in your immediate families. You know what I
Nah,
mean? In
but
general.
yeah, but I mean, it would suck definitely to lose a parent. I don't even want to think about that, but I can imagine like being a
Yeah.
parent losing their kid. I don't even fuck. That has to be like one of the worst things anybody could ever experience. Period.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh.
he was talking about the whole situation. He basically said that him and his son like recently agreed to stop drinking, and like his son like had an
Mm,
incident a few months ago where he was in the hospital for a while, and then a
mm.
week later, I think his son started drinking again, and then apparently that led to the seizure,
Oh no. Wow.
and it happened on Scott Hall's birthday too.
Oh, that's right.
Man, yeah, and just situations like that are like a harsh reminder of like how unfair life can be and how cruel life can be.
Hmm.
Sad, fucking sad, man. I really feel for him and his wife. I really feel for both of them.
Yeah. The prayers for that family.
Yes, condolences to Kevin Nash and his wife and everybody else in their family, everybody else who knew his son. And I really hope you guys get through this one way or another. We're thinking about you. But let's get into some happy news, more happy news, as last week, Bianca Belair officially set the record as the longest reigning black world champion in WWE history.
Wow. Yes. Congrats. Round of applause. That is a milestone right there. That is an accomplishment. I am happy for her. She has really just taken the momentum, the stardom successfully. And you already know that she's gonna just imagine how, I'm just curious how well she's gonna be in the next 5 years from now. You know what I mean? But to accomplish this so early, you go from main eventing at WrestleMania last year, being the first have
First
to
of two African
yeah,
first of two African American women to do it.
yeah, and to this, that's a huge milestone.
Yeah, and I have to say, this year's been even better than last year was for her.
Yeah, because of the matches. Mainly the match from Extreme Rules. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it yet though, but her ladder match against Bailey was wow.
Yeah, it was a good match, but I'll still say my favorite match of hers this year, and one of my favorite matches of the whole year period was her match with Becky at WrestleMania.
But I agree. Yeah, but I'm really I loved how I loved that though, but I'm really loving the feud between her and Bailey right now. It's great, and the fact that Nikki Cross came back too last Monday.
Oh yes, I saw a clip of that.
Yes,
But it's been announced that Bianca will be facing Bailey once again at Crown Jewel in a last woman standing match.
yes, and you know what? I think honestly, I am good interested. We see, we're never care about the sweet Sade money, as you like to call it, Kurt. But but to be honest with you, I think I'm looking forward to watching it next week.
She's my favorite. She's my favorite. One of my favorite performers in the company, and I have to say, as far as the women, I think she's the most attractive in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially with Sasha not around now, I definitely
Mm,
have to rank her as like a number one.
okay.
That Montez Ford dude is one lucky dude,
It is.
and not even just the attractiveness. She just comes off as a very likable person. Like I know I could, like you said with
Yeah.
CM Punk, you like with CM Punk, you'd be afraid to meet him. But like with Belair, I could tell like if I met her, I would like her.
Oh yeah. She's just a very down to earth and chill and sweet person.
Yeah, like you see her like at all these different like events, like promoting the company, whether like she's at a Mets game or like on a talk show or whatever. Yeah, she's like a very good representation of the company, like a very good role model in a sense. Yeah, very good role model.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy. She designs her own gear too.
I think I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, she does. She does her own gear. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of her gear she does herself.
Yeah.
Yo, fuck, yo, she's definitely somebody who is unique in every way possible. Like
Mm-hmm.
from her look, her move set, her whole get up, everything. Second to none, man. Second to none.
Mm.
But it's crazy. The Rock never even had a title reign that long. A
No.
world title reign, that is.
No.
Because his IC title reign, like the IC title reign, like in '98, lasted pretty much, yeah, like 8 months.
Mm-hmm. But as world champion, though, they weren't that long.
Yeah, even in 2000, the longest he held the title was 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Shit's
Wow.
crazy. But yes, props to Bianca Belair making history, and I can definitely tell she'll be making more history as time goes on. And I
Oh yeah.
think I have a good idea of who her opponent at WrestleMania this year will be.
Me too.
We know who it's gonna be.
Charlotte.
Yes. And that'll be a match to watch. That'll be a
Yeah.
match to watch.
Wow.
Speaking of The Rock, the newest season of Young Rock is going to be dropping next Friday.
Yes. Hell yes. Oh. Woo. Oh my god. I already saw photos of it already. I'm excited.
Yeah, they're showing the Nation of Domination in this season.
Yes, that's what I saw. And you know what? Speaking of The Rock, I'm very pleased that now that his daughter is wrestling now. His daughter is part of NXT now.
Yeah, she made her official debut this past Tuesday night.
Yes,
Good for her.
yes,
Fourth generation up in that motherfucker.
right. I'm telling you, man, that family. I'm telling you, the Noi family. That family runs deep. That deep into wrestling culture, man. Just deep into business.
Yeah, it's crazy. Solo Sequoia even said that he hasn't seen like The Rock in over 2 decades.
No, no, there's another crazy thing that he mentioned about, like, he did it. He wasn't really with Roman growing up. That was when they first seen each other at Clash of the Castle, right? The match between Roman and Drew McIntyre. That was their first time Solo and Roman like being around each other, because you got to remember Roman was much older than Solo growing up.
It's crazy,
So that
man.
was like their. I know, because remember, like, he's the younger brother of Jimmy and Jay. Okay, and Roman was much older, so they weren't really like around him as much. So that was like their first time like seeing each other, and I love the bloodline. I love it. When they added Solo in, I just like, man, I really like these guys way more
I
now.
feel like that's the one thing I've been missing out on, like ever since I've been in Israel the
I
last few
think
weeks.
years later down the road, we're gonna look back at that faction and be like, wow, like they're probably gonna be up there as like as one of like the best factions up there.
Yeah, Roman's like a double champion. The Usos are double champions. Yeah, and they have the Sami Zayn factor in it also, and Solo Sequoia. Yeah, this faction is definitely gonna go down in the history books. That's for damn sure.
Tell you, man, we're gonna look back at this. It's gonna be like, wow.
Yeah, I'm just kind of bummed I've missed like the last few weeks of segments they've had. It seems like it's been like the best part of both shows.
Tell you, especially after what happened at the beginning of SmackDown earlier tonight. I know you haven't watched it yet, but watch it. It was crazy though. But it was a segment that happened. I'm not going to tell you though, but it was a segment that happened within the bloodline.
Oh yeah, I can imagine how hilarious it is. I'm gonna watch it as soon as we get off this recording. But oh, your boy
Yeah.
JBL's back and he's managing Baron Corbin.
I, yeah, I saw. Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago about because Corbin was in the back, and next thing you know, a limo pulls up, and he was all like, "Yeah." I was like, "I knew it." I
And
knew it.
JBL was wearing like that baggy ass suit on some MC Hammer shit.
Bro, it looked like it was the 90s again. I was like, what in the world's going on?
Like now I can't get the thought out of my head of like JBL being put in the place of MC Hammer and the "You Can't Touch This" video,
Oh
doing
my
the crazy
god.
dances and shit
The only dance that JBL does is this two step, but yeah.
with the
But
yellow
yeah, I
pants and
like it
shit.
though. Yeah, I like it.
Can't touch this. Wrestling god. I'm a wrestling god. I rock cowboy hats. I'm gonna kill it on this motherfucking track. I wear these baggy clothes. I pull a lot of hoes. I'm gonna roll up my cigar and puff up some dro.
But
Oh
yeah,
shit, I can see it
I
now.
like how he's managing Corbin right now. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, talking shit about millennials, talking shit about cancel culture. Yeah, he's definitely playing his part to the fullest.
Eh.
Oh, and there's also been a story coming out that WWE is now going to be getting rid of the Hell in a Cell pay per view.
Yes, and good. Yeah, good. He Triple H needs to. I said this before in our past episodes. I'm loving it. Every step of the way, every little things is being changed. They needed to get rid of that pay per view because we had talked about how the match itself is just it's like it's pimped out. It's like Triple H wants to go back to the original way of how the match was.
Yeah, because with the whole gimmick of the Hell in a Cell pay per view, it lost a lot of its like
Luster.
exactly, yeah, it just like felt like, oh, it's October, let's bring out the Hell in a Cell.
Not only that, man, like they'll just like those matches are meant for heated feuds. So like you'll do like two people, like two wrestlers will have a match, and then like a month later, oh, Hell in a Cell. And I'm like, wait a minute, they just feuded for a month.
Yeah, because Rusev and Roman Reigns in 2016 did not need to be a Hell in a Cell match.
No. And you know, it was just funny. Like I think it was this morning I was listening to something to wrestle about podcasts, and they did a episode on the Hell in a Cell because it's been 25 years now. This is the 25th anniversary of the first one,
Yes, it
and they
is.
had talked about how just the magnitude and the importance of it, and it just really just reminded me on how brutal and how important these matches because of the feuds. When you have a big feud that's been feuding for months, depending on how much heat the feud is getting, then you do a Hell in a Cell match. You don't do a match and then like a month later, oh, Hell in a Cell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because back in the day, like the Hell in a Cell was like something you would see like once in a blue moon, like once a year for like a feud that really
Thank
warranted
you.
it. But now with the whole
Thank
gimmick
you.
pay per views and especially certain years when they would have the pink ropes for it, it's like, bro, this shit doesn't feel special anymore. Like you basically just freaking pimped this shit out and made it freaking just another regular match.
Right.
And granted, there has been some good Hell in a Cell matches of the pay per views had over the years, but just still, they don't need the full pay per view dedicated to it.
No, they don't.
And that goes for TLC, that goes for Elimination Chamber, all these other gimmick shows. Yeah, I'm not gonna
Get
miss.
rid of it.
I'm not gonna miss them at all.
Get rid of it. I hated it when they did that back in 2009. That's where it all started.
Yeah, it did.
Let's hope in the next year or so that most of the other gimmick pay per views are going to be gone.
And also, I'm hearing discussion that instead of doing the Money in the Bank pay per view, they're gonna start doing it at WrestleMania again.
Really
Yeah, I would not mind that. Yo, they could do a men's Money in the Bank on night one and then a women's on night two, or vice versa. I would
perfect.
much rather
Per-
have them do that than the pay per view.
perfect. Perfect.
And also, I'm hearing they might bring back the King of the Ring as a pay per view too.
Oh, ooh, see that's another pay per view that I miss. I miss that.
Yeah, it had its moments. It was like the beginning of the summer vibe. Yeah, I liked it, and also with the
Yeah,
tournament and
yeah,
whatnot. I,
I
yeah, I
love
fucked with
it.
it.
Vince does not like tournaments. I love tournaments.
Vince doesn't like a lot of things that are cool, but he's not in the picture anymore.
Yeah, I know. Right.
But
Bring it back.
he does like women that are younger than him.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
but one pay per view that got canceled recently was the upcoming day one pay per view that was supposed to take place in my neck
Yeah.
of the woods of Atlanta on January 1st.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I mean, it would have. I was thinking of maybe going to it with my brother and my nephew, but now that it's canceled, is what it is. But I'm hearing that he might be trying to replace it with Starcade instead.
Hmm.
I
Really?
I'd be down for it if it happened. If it comes here, I'll definitely go. If it's under the Starcade banner, then yeah, I would definitely love to go to that.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. But and hope Triple H gets well soon because it was just found out a few weeks ago that he does have COVID or did have COVID.
Yeah, he did. It was a couple weeks ago, but I haven't heard if he's been back or is he doing better though. But that was like the last time I heard. It was literally like a couple weeks ago.
Yes, and hopefully we see him back at TV soon and things can keep going in the right direction.
Hmm.
And congratulations to Sheamus as he just got married today.
Oh, he did?
Yes, I saw the pictures. He got married today, and I'm sorry, Drew McIntyre and Miro were two of his groomsmen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, good shit. Congratulations to Sheamus. And I believe that's the reason why they did the storyline they did with him last week where the bloodline took him out.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's
Oh, okay, I
probably to
see.
explain why he's going to be off TV for a while. So, but I could see this
Interesting.
possibly playing into a potential match for War Games.
Oh, for the Survivor Series. And speaking of that, yeah, we found out this is when you were gone, Kurt, that yes, the War Game matches will be for both the men's and women's will be a part of this year's Survivor Series.
Yes, November 26th. And I think for the men's War Games, it's going to probably be the Bloodline against Sheamus and his crew, Drew McIntyre, and Kevin Owens. Yeah, Kevin Owens and Kevin Owens
Mm,
because of the Sami Zayn factor. I'd be down for that.
yeah, I'm just excited just for just the concept of the match. The fact that it's that Survivor Series, it goes perfectly.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a fun show. I'm really looking forward to it. And
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
they can finally have a good Survivor Series in Boston for once.
Oh yeah, I forgot it's gonna be in Boston. Oh man, let's hope because all the Survivor Series in Boston was not good, Kurt.
1993 sucked, 2008 sucked, and 2013 sucked.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, so hopefully we turn things around with that.
let's hope.
And it also came out today that Bray Wyatt is number one in merch sales right now, even over the Bloodline.
Really,
Ever since he came
I
back.
love, I love the Bloodlines We the One shirt. I love it. Love that shirt.
Yeah, but I'm hearing ever since Bray Wyatt came back, he's been lighting the world on fire.
Oh, I know, no, of course, I'm not surprised. I mean that was, uh, oof, I'm just speechless when he made his return at Extreme Rules. Speechless.
I figured for when he was gonna come back, and yeah, I figured it was gonna be different this
Yeah.
time because it's under new management and whatnot. So yeah, we'll see how it
Hmm.
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Kayla Braxton wasn't very fond of her Uber driver. She put out a tweet today, talking about how she had the rudest Uber driver today because she told her to get out of the car because didn't say hi to her when the Uber driver didn't even say hi to her back. And yeah,
Uh,
shit's not looking. Shit's not a good look at all.
oh, damn.
Hey, look, this is what I'll say. I It's kind of weird to like get into a stranger's car when they're gonna drive you somewhere and not even say hi. But I mean, but to kick them out of the car over that's going too far.
It is.
And granted, yeah, the driver didn't say hi back to her, which the driver should have done because it's a professional thing to do when you're in that kind of predicament. I did drive briefly for Lyft for a little bit, and yeah, I would always say hi to every customer that walked in my car. If they didn't say hi back, I would just ignore them, whatever. But granted, that's also rude. But whatever, it is what it is. But I would never kick somebody out of the car for that.
No, it's pushing it
Yeah,
too far.
crazy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have Crown Jewel coming up next Saturday. We have the
Hmm.
Roman and Logan Paul for the championship, which is very strange.
That was so random. I was not expecting that, man. I don't know what to say. Um, I was watching that press conference when they announced the match. It just blow. I mean, just to throw him in that. Look, granted, yeah, he's very. He has talent. He could perform in the ring, but just to throw him in there is just. I wasn't expecting that, man. I don't know. Yeah. Eh.
Yeah, we'll see what's up. But and our best wishes is Tommaso Ciampa as he's gonna be out with hip surgery for the next 9 months.
Mm,
Fucking a man, that sucks.
I know.
Oh, happy anniversary to Triple H and Stephanie as this past Tuesday was their 19th wedding anniversary.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw pictures of Stephanie posting pictures of them. That's nice. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, it was a funny pic she posted of the two of them.
Yeah.
And also, yesterday marked the 3-year anniversary of our very first episode.
Really?
Yeah, when we recorded it on my phone.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit. Old school. Fucking old
Wow.
school. Oh
Oh,
man.
crazy! It's crazy how far we came, man. I feel like in the future we're gonna get better and bigger and better because just a month ago, I finally created an Instagram page for us, a Twitter page, and just we're on to new heights.
Finally, we have a page on Twitter and Instagram, and we're gonna rise higher. Oh shit.
Oh man.
And all right, so anything else you want to get into tonight?
Not much. I mean, we got I'm excited for Crown Jewel. So, but prior to that, we will give you our take, as we always do. We're gonna give you guys our preview for our pay per view, preview for Crown Jewel. So that's about it.
Yes, and I'm looking out for this Vince McMahon Netflix documentary that's supposed to be still coming out.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. But until next time, for John Randall, this is Kirk Cadet for another edition of Clash of Champions. And we're right here for you for that wrestling news, wrestling goodness, drama, gossip, and everything in between. So until next time, be easy.